Hey everybody, wanted to do a quick overview of wiring diagrams, and this is going to be in different sections. I'm thinking it's going to be like 5 different parts to it. I wanted to first start off with an overview, and then we're going to start breaking it down so that it's better to understand. So let's go ahead and get started here. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Yeah, right, from the beginning. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be an overview, and then we're going to kind of break down the different section of it and how to read it. This will help you with your diagnostic on a lot of things, and it could be anything from diagnosing an engine performance problem to other electrical problems to actually diving into hybrid vehicles, also electric vehicles and all. So anything electrical, this should help you out. So just to start off with, you know, um, the service manuals will have diagrams in them, and they can be very deceiving. They may seem a little overpowering, but if you break it down by sections, that's why I wanted to do different sections of this this kind of series on wiring diagrams. So sometimes we call it schematics, but they show the electrical components and wiring symbols, and I also have other parts to it which we'll break down. So all schematics or diagrams I'll actually have a power side, where the wiring is connected to the power sources. They'll have all the splices to them. They'll have connectors to them. They'll also have the wiring size, wiring colors, any traces, coloring on them, if any, and they'll have a circuit number, also electrical components. Start getting into ground return paths, and they'll have protection devices like fuses, fusible links, switches, and stuff like that too. The color and code, it will be on the wiring diagram. It will show a color, and if there's a trace to it, will be a dotted trace or a color trace on it also. This will kind of will actually change sometimes down the wiring diagram. So you'll really have to pay attention on this too. So, this is showing what I was just talking about. So this actually shows the size of the wire. It's about 0.8 millimeter. And it also shows that it is a purple wire. Okay, so it starts off with one color. You're saying it's a solid purple wire. But then it'll come to a connector, which is the little V's connecting together, and then kind of the arrow going into a receiving arrow, and then it will have a purple with a white. Like I said before, it can change colors on it, and it tells you right up on top where it says C210 that it's part of that circuit. Then I'll have like some kind of a different symbol for like a light bulb, and then you'll see on the other side of that light bulb that it actually has another wire, which is a black wire. So just trying to get that down. This is why I'm going to kind of break it down even farther in this series. So some of the symbols that they have, and this is typical, and there's even more symbols. So if you look at the very top, this is kind of a symbol of a battery. Here's my positive, here's my negative, and here's the cells inside. We also have what they call a global symbol. So you might see this also. So these are global symbols and the kind of conventional type symbols. And then light bulbs, this is one style, this is another style. And then here's a case ground. where it actually, the case of the component is grounded. This could be another type. And then your circuit breakers, right here is another symbol of it. And then your diodes, okay? And then you're looking into bulbs with different filaments to it. So this is got more than one filament to it, not like the single filament we had up here. And then, of course, fuses. This is another style, grounds. And then you got a light emitting diode, and not the same as a diode. We have a light emitting diode, and then a resistor, and then your splices going in, they splice together, and then your variable resistor. So that's different than your regular resistors too. A typical connection is what we've seen a little bit earlier too. And a lot of times we'll label the connections too, so you can find them a little bit easier when you're looking, from the diagram onto the vehicle. They'll give you a component locator, and we'll go into component locators a little bit later on too. And of course, your grounds, whether it be a conventional type 1 or a global type 1, here's my battery, and here is my grounds going like this. So what happens here is you start with the power side, and it's usually on the top. That's where I've seen most of them. I've been told that there's a few diagrams go to side, but the ones that I've seen in the field is always the power starts in the top and the ground comes towards the bottom. So this is a good example right here. It doesn't show you the ground yet, but you start off with the power source, so it's showing hot all the time coming in, and we're going to break that down even farther. And this is an ignition switch, and then we have a connector 2 here, and then you're going to start with a circuit with the actual color of the wire and also the size of the wire. And as it comes on down, we're going to actually see more of it coming through. So here is my connector again. I've got my colors. I got my circuit numbers. I've also got my connection numbers. So that helps break it down to what you have on your actual schematic here. So this is just a few of the types of circuits that you have on this. There's this particular one. And then we have other, like motors. This is an actual symbol of a blower motor with it connected up. So it's going from B over here to A over here. So when you get your connectors, a lot of times they'll label the connectors so you'll be able to see where part of it. And then we'll get farther into, we'll actually see some connector views too. So that's going to help you out a lot too. So these terminals, these are kind of like the terminals that where they plug into. So like your blower motors will not have always a single wire and a single wire. They'll actually come into a group of wires with a plastic type connector on it. And then here, of course, your splices like we've seen before. And then you'll have a diagram showing you where the certain types of connectors will actually be. So basically they run them down to sections of the vehicle. And in your kind of glossary terms on your wiring diagrams, a lot of times will have it this way. So you're like your 100s and 199 will be under the hood. Then you have the 200 to 299, which are going to be under the dash. And then your 300 to 399 will be in the passenger compartment. And then it kind of follows on back. And then it kind of breaks over to the 500 to 599 for the left front door, and then the right front door, and then you got the left rear door and the left, the right rear door, and like that. And then we have the actual grounds and splices as we go through. but we'll start off on the very top here. And then, like I said before, we'll start with the power coming on through, and then we're going to come on down to the actual ground circuit. So here's a G305, and it'll give you a circuit number and what kind of wires and what you have. Then we have a ground. They'll actually sometimes actually have, and this is, I don't want you to get confused. I just want you to kind of soak this in, and we'll break it down even farther. So ground distribution could be going to another part of the schematic and the wiring diagram also. So we have a ground, but we actually have one going off this way, and we got the actually connecting here. So they'll group the ground sometimes into a splice. And then your bulbs, in, like, as you know, as we've seen before, be like a single filament and a dual filament, and then your motors with the connectors like we've seen before. And then we go into some more, where we get into your resistors, you know, like either a fixed resistor like we have up here, and a variable resistor. And then you have your variable resistors, which are your potentiometers. And we'll break those down too with the symbols. And then we have others. We have like the dotted or the box type symbols in your separate, you know, you'll have like a component that's actually boxed in. And if the component is shown in the box with a solid line, the box is the entire component. If it actually has dashed lines, it actually is a part of the actual component. It's not all of it. There's going to be other parts of it that'll be kind of focus in on that component as they go along too. And then switches, we have, you know, the single position, double pole, single switch, you know, and single pole type ones too. So we can actually have two different circuits. As I turn the switch over here, it can energize another type of circuit where this only has a single on it. And then, of course, you have your, you know, momentary switches, or, you know, that where you actually push it and it actually connects, or you push it and it disconnects like that. So it'll send voltage to wherever you need it to actually go. Like it's normally open on this particular one, where you're normally closed. So you push it and it opens it up. And a lot of times you'll see like NO or NC in your actual schematics too. And of course, lastly, what I wanted to go over is another symbol, and we'll break this down. We'll have a little fun with relays too. But this is one style of relay, and there's other style of relays. And I'll talk about little circuit relays too. But we have a basic relay. So this is a 5-wire relay. You can actually have a 4-wire relay too. So this is the coil that energizes the switch. So this is normally resting, you know, close to this part. And then when you energize by energizing this coil, it'll pull the switch across to actually complete this circuit here. And we'll talk about how they're wired in, and you can really play with relays, and they can really be a lot of great fun along the way too. So I hope this was helpful for you. Also, if you like, please, like and subscribe, and then that helps me move in the directions, hopefully, that will help you out also in your repair. Until next time, I will talk to you later. Take care now. Bye.